I remember seeing the Quicksilver t-shirt, and the Quicksilver t-shirt had the HI on it. And this was like back in high school time. And HI, and I think it had like the island logo like right above the eye. And I was thinking to myself, like, oh, sick, I want that t-shirt. And so I bought that shirt, and that's when I started to question. I was like, I wonder if somebody from Hawaii designed this shirt.
Right.
I was wondering, like, oh, if somebody from California designed this shirt, something's wrong with that. Somebody from Hawaii should design this shirt.
From Rise High, this is Why Not Me, a show about Kama'aina creators, entrepreneurs, and community leaders. The behind-the-scenes stories of how they got to where they are and the valuable lessons they learned along the way. On this episode, Hilo designer and entrepreneur Kūhaʻo Zane opens up about the realities of retail during a global pandemic and shares that critical thing he and his business did 5 years ago that's helping keep business afloat during these uncertain times. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, sir.
Hey, Hilo's finest, Kūhaʻo Zane. What's up, bro? How you doing?
What's up, Gabe? Doing good, right? Doing good. You know, surviving.
That's the word of the month. It seems like is surviving, and we're gonna talk about that. I know your business is retail, and definitely your business is being affected just like all the other retail space out there. And I want to talk about that. But one thing I wanted to start off with is, I've seen you do this a few times. Is when people ask you, Kūhaʻo, how do you explain? What do you do for a living? What's your response?
It's been adjusting lately, and I think Omidyar has a lot to do with that. Just really putting aside the time to make me question, like, what is my function? And lately, it's my latest one. Yes, I'm a designer. Yes, I work in retail. Yes, I work in all different kind of community projects. But lately, I think with everybody knowing who Sig Zane Designs is and what Sig Zane Designs is about, I feel that my dad has engineered himself a seat at many different tables within Hawaii. And I feel that my job, and it's my opportunity to be able to make use of that seat to see proper change within community as well as within our culture.
I love it. And I thought you were going to do the other one, which was I do whatever my dad tells me to do.
Nah, I was trying to be smart for you, Gabe.
You're evolving, Kūhaʻo. I appreciate that. Right on.
Yeah.
So speaking of your father, real quick, for those of you who don't know, Kūhaʻo, your father, Sig Zane, right?
Sig Zane Designs.
Very famous designer, artist who's been doing this for decades, right? Out of Hilo, and he's kind of the man behind aloha shirts in Hawaii for the last couple of decades, right? So right now you got all this space, right? You're paying for lease rent, all that stuff, and COVID-19 hits, right?
Yep.
So why don't you just kind of walk us through, like, how has that affected business, and how have you had to adapt? What have you been doing to adapt?
I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty rough. It was probably one of the more tougher decisions to have to let go a lot of the retail team, and we let go a lot of our higher ups too, as well, and the design team too. I think that I'm glad that we did it earlier than later, but it was a part of the strategy that I worked on with our finance manager, that I rather try and figure out how we can build enough of a reserve so that when this is all done, we'll be able to hit the ground running and bring everybody back on at some point. But to be able to make that happen, I had to kind of go through that tough decision to be able to let go of everybody and either furlough or lay off everybody that we had. And retail wise, we're a location that we're a business that tries to promote experience, and you have to come into our shop to have that experience. So it definitely, we took a big hit. Just for everybody following here, like more than half,
Yep.
But I still think that we are in a blessed situation or a privileged situation where the fact that we have a strong online presence,
Yep.
and we're able to pivot and completely turn all of our product onto online product. And our online presence, we've kind of been cultivating it, which I think back now in hindsight, 2020, it's like, if we didn't start cultivating that online presence, like, 4 or 5 years ago, and we had our website for a long time, but only 4 or 5 years ago, we started to really focus on our mailing list, focus on our social, focus on our cart that we have online. And so building all those systems ahead of time, we definitely were ready to be able to do that pivot and do that convert now. That said, I do feel that we have a lot of creative people within our company too. And so although a lot of them aren't necessarily in the office, I do feel that when this is all done, we'll be able to kind of bring our minds together to figure out the correct pivot to best serve design and then also best serve the community.
One of the things that was interesting is when you decided to open up a space in downtown Honolulu, right? Chinatown. This is what, 4 or 5 years ago, probably?
I think we would, 4 years. We just made 3 years, so this is our 4th year right now.
Okay. You're probably the only shop I know of, and I could be wrong, that it's open only for 1 day a week. And I thought that was pretty unique in a sense that a lot of people think that you'd be wasting, right, the other 6 days of the week and you're paying lease rent. But the way I look at it also is that you've created that scarcity model, right, where people know, shoot, it's only open on Friday, guys, so I better go get it because that's, or else I got to wait a whole nother week. What was that purposely, or was this more just your schedule? You only want to fly once a week.
It was far from me. All those old school mom and pop manapua shops or something like that, where you got to be there at 4:30 in the morning and you can only be there on Tuesday. We have chocoros here too, and that's a scarcity model too, because even like with Hilo Lunch Shop or with Kawamoto's over here, if you want to get the nori chicken, you got to be there in line like first thing in the morning. It's the same concept. So I think it's an old concept, but maybe this is one of the first times it was implemented into Aloha shirts and into the retail area. But weirdly, I would want to say that, I had this all in my mind, but it happened organically. And the first idea, and I don't think I've actually said this in an interview, but the first idea was that we were going to open up a lei shop. And then on Fridays, then we were going to open up the back of the lei shop, and then it was going to have Aloha shirts in the back. That was like the initial concept. And we came up with that concept for 2 reasons. The first reason being that since we're manufactured in Hawaii, we literally can't keep up with the numbers of sales. And so we had to figure out a way to limit sales to a certain degree, but at the same time, still distribute out to people, So that was one reason. And then the second reason was, okay, I don't mean this to you or anything or to anybody in Oahu, but Oahu has a lot, and Hilo no more that much. So I take pride in what Hilo has to itself,
Sure.
And for us to be able to be something special in Hilo, I didn't want to take that for granted. And so we was like, you know what, Oahu, okay, we're gonna roll up, but we're gonna roll up one day.
Yeah.
And so it's all. Go ahead.
It's not like you're doing distribution to Macy's now. You know what I mean? So you still want to keep it sacred. I get that.
Yeah. So I think that it was all of these like different random like thoughts that kind of slowly made its way into this initial concept, and I got to credit majority of the design team that kind of came up with those ideas.
Hey, so I want to transition over to early years, and again, we've talked before, and you've told me this story, but I don't think a lot of people know, your background growing up. So there's a lot of ways people learn, right? People are good at reading books. People are good at school, listening to teachers. There's other people that they have to do hands-on learning, and you'd be the first one to say that growing up, school wasn't, you weren't really the school kind of guy. You weren't really getting good grades, right?
Yeah. People named me 0.4. The worst.
I don't know if I've heard that one. 0.5. How is that possible, bro?
Not 4.0, it's 0.4.
Oh,
But yeah, I don't know how that's possible. Actually, I don't know what I was doing. I just wasn't doing my homework, wasn't paying attention. And I'm sure my mom guys just wanted to like kill me at some point. But I think it was someplace around like 10th or 11th grade that I realized like, oh, wait a minute, I'm supposed to do homework. And like leading up to that, I was only doing like summer school. I was even doing correspondence. There was one summer I did summer school and 2 correspondence just to make it to the next grade. And I don't know, maybe I just wasn't efficiently looking at my time or paying attention. But there's one teacher that like kind of turned me around, and that was Miss Nakamura. There's a few teachers in my career, but Miss Nakamura was, yeah, she was the first one to like really push me to not take the lead, but push me to like do something about it, you know, not necessarily just learn, like try and apply your learning. And then that's when I realized I'm more of an applied learner. Like if you tell me 50 cents or 50 plus 50, of course, you know, I can figure it out. But if you tell me 50 cents and 50 cents, it's like immediate, you know?
Yeah.
And so I think that's where the inclination of business, and then also on the art side, being able to observe my mom as a creative and observe my dad as a creative, that naturally was a part of me. But the business side like kicked in because I was observing everything that was happening within the business too. So I think the applied learning was super important. My very first hustle actually was buying all of those Riptide magazines, the bodyboarder magazines, and cutting out all the designs and then putting it onto and you have to like lay it out properly onto your folder. It's like those 5-star folders.
You're selling those?
Like, yeah, I was like doing them as custom folders for people. And so I forget how much it was, but I was doing the math. I was like, okay, 5-star folder was a little bit over $1 at the time. The tape, I had to figure out how much tape was. The magazine could supply me enough for about, 2 or 3 magazines or something. You have to make sure the pictures are good. And I think that I was in 7th grade, and then I was selling those folders for like $10 or something like that.
That's not bad right there. That's good money. Yeah,
Which
would be money right there.
Right? And then obviously, like I told you before, but then that's when I moved into screen printing T-shirts. And one of my dad's partners at the time, Puno by Rice, he taught me how to do Corel Draw, which was the graphic design program back then. And I just kind of fell in love with the idea of having some sort of like image or concept pop into your head. And he gave me the tools, or he taught me the tools to be able to get that out of my head and literally get it onto the computer and eventually onto a T-shirt. So there are all these random events that are happening, but they all lead into a specific path. But I remember seeing the Quicksilver T-shirt, and the Quicksilver T-shirt had the HI on it. And this is like back in high school time. And HI, and I think it had like the Island logo like right above the eye. And I was thinking to myself, like, oh, sick, I want that T-shirt. And I think that was one of the first times that I remember during our generation that Hawaii was starting to get like
global recognition
implemented by certain, I'm trying to use the best diplomatic term, implemented by surf brands. And so I bought that shirt, and that's when I started to question. I was like, I wonder if somebody from Hawaii designed this shirt.
Right.
And then when I like kind of put 2 and 2 together, I assumed, but I was wondering like, oh, if somebody from California designed this shirt, something's wrong with that. Somebody from Hawaii should design this shirt. Yep. Actually, anybody using Hawaii in general should be consulted or designed by a Hawaii person. And I think that's what really started my path on to creating design that could communicate something, And then secondly, when I was selling the shirts in school and people were like, oh yeah, I'll buy a shirt. And then quickly I had enough money to buy me like the newest tubes bodyboard or something. Then I was like, oh, can make money off of this too.
And it kind of goes back to, we decided to name this whole talk story thing, this video, this whatever you call it. We're kind of going through names of what should we name this, and we went through a couple of iterations, and what we came up with was why not me? And it's just always that question, right? Because there's Quicksilver, this major brand, and what's stopping someone from Hawaii becoming Quicksilver, but from Hawaii, who's authentic, right? We can tell the authentic narrative of Hawaii. And part of it is just, you know, a lot of it is questioning yourself and confidence, right? And questioning yourself, and why not me, right? Someone's going to do it. Why can't it be me? And that's kind of why we decided to name this. So hopefully it inspires other keiki out there, like, hey, shoot, Ku Hau's doing his thing. Shoot, maybe I can do something too, you know?
Yeah, I can do that too.
Transitioning over to one part of the episode we want to do is we want to bring up an old post that you had. I'm bringing it up right now.
I'm glad you didn't go too far back.
Which one? He got a couple of skeletons in your closet.
Definitely not a politician.
We're not going to go there. For those watching, you guys can go search on your own. So check out this post back in January. Walk me through. What is this about?
So the backstory for this one is obviously it's a door, but we have this kind of like storage area. We call it the dungeon, and it literally looks like a dungeon. I feel like the dungeon's like been like 100 years old or something, but we put all of our storage in there. It's dark, it's grimy, nobody likes to go in there. And my dad's been scrapping out with me to clean this whole thing out, like clean up the dungeon. And I've been telling him, like, you know what, all the employees contribute to this, so we should make all the employees do something in there.
Yeah, what's up with that?
Anyway, I think in the beginning of the year, we decided, January is that week of January 16th, but we decided to close down the shop and just do a thorough cleaning of the whole store, do a thorough cleaning of our offices, and then also whatever renovations we wanted to do at the time, and then also get down into the dungeon. And it's crazy that, like, I don't know, some people are kind of different in that way, but me and my dad are such constant creators that we rarely look at a body of work. And I guess Instagram allows you to be able to look at a body of work and create at the same time, you know. But when we went down into the dungeon, we got to look at all of the body of work that for the past 35 years that's been sitting down there. And this door was from our first time when we moved here in 1992. It was Edith's dress shop previously, and it was the same. I don't know if it's the same door. I gotta ask my dad that question. But I remember my dad being super stoked because he felt like he made it, quotation marks, you know, because he was able to move from Kilauea Street, which was a few streets back kind of in the ghetto, and move up to Front Street and literally have his logo on the door. So to me, this door kind of signified one of my dad's chapters, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and then this one was just kind of like the what I wrote was just a reference of how my dad has kind of built this, not following, but it's called a koa, but the koa is like the reef that's out there, but a lot of times it's a man-made reef, and that's one of the that's the ingenuity of Hawaiian fishermen back in the day, is that they would take a stone out there, drop a stone, and eventually it would turn into a man-made reef that could kind of house all of the smaller reef fish. And then they know that the bigger fish would come around that, so that they can literally go back to the same koa. And I feel that Sig Zane Designs, being 35 years old, my dad put his energy to be able to build a koa that us as smaller fish are able to attract the bigger fish coming in, and not necessarily in a predatory way, but in a way that, you know, some of the clients that we're working with are some of the biggest businesses in Hawaii. And if my dad didn't put that energy in to be able to build that reef or to build that koa, then we wouldn't have the opportunities that we have today.
Moving on, we go into speed round challenge questions, right?
Yep.
Got a series of questions. First thing pops in your head, go for it, right? Last place you ordered takeout from.
How about Hawaiian Style Cafe. I've been trying to like eat out as much as possible, and so Hawaiian Style Cafe is one of them that is doing takeout here. But I also wanted to order from Moon and Turtle because Moon and Turtle's been closed this whole time, but they finally opened up their takeout over here. So Hawaiian Style Cafe because I was craving Korean chicken.
Yeah.
And then Moon and Turtle because they just opened up and I've been missing their smoky sushi.
Hawaiian Style Cafe. I remember coming from the airport, Hilo Airport, going right over there. Boom, perfect.
Right there, yeah.
Perfect. Okay, favorite movie?
Ooh, I'd have to go with The Matrix.
Good call. Favorite book?
I could go with Shoe Dog, Phil Knight.
Someone you look up to?
George Helm.
Okay. All right, first place you're heading after quarantine's done?
You know, it's this weird answer, but I'll be heading right here.
Hopefully with more people at all, huh?
Yeah, with more people, of course. It changes. But, you know, the beach is still available and my office is still available. So,
yeah,
anyway.
I hear you. Yeah. If you could have dinner with anyone, dead or alive, who would it be?
Alive?
Dead or alive? Oh, go ahead.
Alive, Jay-Z. Dead. Wouldn't mind having dinner with Hi'iaka. She sounded pretty cool.
Yeah, I had a feeling. I feeling you'd have a local vibe to that. So, right on. If you could learn any skill, what would it be?
How to be an assertive negotiator.
Something that makes you smile.
I was gonna say Japanese whiskey, but
Hakushu.
Hakushu, hibiki. Okay, the second time that popped up is I was doing a job for Four Seasons in Kūhaʻo. This is like 12 years ago or something. And I was designing the branding for their lifeguard team or their water sports team at Four Seasons. And I got to go out there a lot. And it was, to me, working with Four Seasons, I felt like that was a pretty big job at the time. And so I was going down there to like check on their hut that they designed, and I designed the signage for it and a bunch of the clothing. And while I'm standing there, there's a little kid that walks up and like puts on it's called Alaka Inalu. That was like the team name, and put on the rash guard, and they had the Alaka Inalu logo. It's kind of like a triangle. Mm-hmm. And the kid was like, "I feel like a superhero."
Yeah.
And then he ran off. And like, I was just able to like witness that moment. And I think that for me to see that, I don't need any pay. I don't need practically anything else. That's like the ultimate fulfillment of the effort that I put into my day-to-day creative work.
It's like a proud papa.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah. I got you. Okay. What's the best piece of advice you would give to someone in high school or college from Hawaii trying to figure it out in the world?
I feel that your mind is a receptor to be able to take in these ideas and these concepts as gifts. And your job as a medium is to be able to push these ideas and gifts out into the world for the benefit of, society. And I think the best advice is to be able to follow those gifts and follow those ideas selflessly, and you get repaid back tenfold.
I know I'm gonna wrap this up, but I know you're doing pretty cool things, man. I know you're working with everyone in Hawaii, and you're gonna be delivering some masks for those in Hilo, right? Coming up, you got a big shipment coming in now.
Well, the big shipment came in. We just got 200,000 masks that just landed. Big up to Nicole, Zach, and Robert from everyone. And the masks, we sent out a little PSA via Vibrant Hawaii. Janice sent out an email, and we already had 60 organizations sign up with their requests for masks. And so we'll be kind of reviewing through them to make sure that the masks can get distributed per population as well as per underserved community. But yeah, I think Monday we're already going to start distributing the masks. So
perfect, bro. Perfect. Well, I know with COVID-19, businesses kind of hit hard, but you're kind of stepping up and trying to fill in the spots to help out your community. Definitely appreciate that. Appreciate
we're also having the Pauhana Lives too.
Pauhana Live, you got your own Pauhana Live, which can be found on where? At where?
On Instagram at Sig Zane Designs.
Yep. Hey, I appreciate. I was the first guest, though. I appreciate that.
Yep.
Yeah. So, if anybody follow Ku Hau at Ku Hau on Instagram, follow your pops at Sig Zane Designs, right?
Correct. Yep. At Sig Zane Designs.
But hey, appreciate all you do, not just for Hilo, but also for Hawaii. And thanks for being on the show, brother.
Same to you, brother. Much mahalo.